Welcome to another episode of the Hoopsfix podcast with me, your host, Sam Nita, full-time British basketball advocate. And we are doing a quickfire emergency pod. As you know, I've been a little bit slack with the podcast recently. There's a lot going on. I'm a bit swamped. So the podcast is only being brought out when it is absolutely necessary and there is an interview that just has to happen. And this is one of those. We are speaking to Jeremy Sochan. He is probably the most spoken about figure in British basketball over recent months. He obviously declared for the NBA draft a little less than 8 weeks ago in early April, after a standout freshman year at Baylor. He is obviously from the UK, came up through MK Trojans, and then so it went down to Southampton, played with Solent Kestrels and Itchen College before becoming a citizen of the world, spending time in the US at Lumiere High School and in Germany as well before going to Baylor. Now, I've done a longer form podcast with him, which you can find if you search back through the archives. And this was a quick 15 minutes. Obviously, he is on the draft circuit at the moment, doing workouts, doing interviews, trying to get prepared for the draft on June the 23rd. So time was limited a little bit because he is so busy, but we're absolutely blessed to have had the opportunity to speak to him and kind of find out how he's doing and how that whole process is. I did ask a few questions from myself, but then actually ended up opening it to the floor. We we asked for questions on Instagram, so we had a bunch of different questions from various people, and we ended up just firing them at him, and there were some good ones. It was really interesting and good to hear from him. Of course, one thing I didn't ask is where he actually thinks he's end up getting selected, but just to give context to the interview, actually, at the moment, there's multiple reports saying that he's not going to fall any lower than 12. So he is a projected lottery pick, which is big time. You know, he will only be the second British lottery pick that we've had, obviously following on from Luol Deng, and will be the first homegrown British player drafted since Ryan Richards in 2010. So this is huge news. And I think when we're talking about players that younger players can look up to, he is exactly that. You know, he has come through the UK pathway. You know, he has gone through the same struggles that every young British player goes through. And I think, you know, frustratingly, of course, we're not going to see him represent GB. He plays for Poland because his passport was never sorted out all those years ago, and he became the youngest player to represent the Polish senior national team a couple of summers ago at Eurobasket. You know, he is a big-time prospect, big-time player, but you can hear in this just how much he cares about British basketball and how invested he is in the UK game. So, you know, I'm incredibly proud to see his progress, to see how well he's doing, and look forward to seeing him kind of take the next step. So yeah, it was a great interview. He's an absolutely awesome guy, super humble still, feet are firmly on the ground, and that's credit to his family, friends, and all those people around him. So yeah, let's get into the interview, and hopefully we'll see his name called in the next couple of weeks, and get to see him on the floor in the big leagues coming next season. So anyway, that is enough from me. I'm rambling on. Here is this week's podcast with me and Jeremy Sochan. Jeremy, it's been a long time, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I've been busy with a lot of basketball, a lot of media, but it's been a great time and I'm really excited for the next step. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just like we were saying, there's been a lot going on here. And obviously, there's a lot of people in the UK that are following your progress. Very excited to kind of see you ready to take that next step. I think there's a bunch of stuff to get into, but I think really just starting with like kind of what is the last sort of 8 weeks, 7-8 weeks been like for you since you declared for the draft?
I mean, I actually came back to England for a little bit to just, settle down, have a little bit of rest. But I flew back to America. I flew to Frisco, Texas, which is like near Dallas. And literally, it's been just a lot of workouts, individual work, just getting better, basketball-wise, mentally, understanding, the NBA type of basketball, the style. And then now, I had to combine, and now I'm doing workouts with NBA teams. So it's very busy. And now, the 23rd of June, we'll see where I go. But, it's been all exciting, busy, and I'm just ready.
Sort of coming into this season, it definitely wasn't a guaranteed thing that you were going to be one and done. Sort of at what point did you start realizing, this could be a reality and you could be sort of declaring straight after your freshman year?
Right. I think, the way I live is just staying in the present. I never really think about the past or try and think, ahead of myself. I think just staying in the present and just, getting myself better every day. And, as the season got along and I got more minutes, I got more usage, There's more eyes on me. I think, I start to understand and, talking to coaches as well, that it could be a possibility. But I never, during the season said, I'm going this year. And I think I just waited until the end of the season when I was actually back in England, talking to my parents, the people around me, Jack and Matt, and just really deciding then that it's time to go. So I never rushed it. I never, did anything too soon.
And what is a typical day looking like for you at the moment? Run us through what a sort of day in the life of Jeremy is looking like.
Right. I mean, I try. I'm an early person, so I wake up early. Normally, I get some shots in the morning around 7:30, 7, and then I have like weights. I lift at like around 9. Then I have a little bit of chill time. Then I work out around 11 a.m. That'll be like 2 hours or something like that. And then normally I would have. It depends on the day, but I'd have recovery. Either I'd be with my manual therapist, or it would be a massage, or just be going to some Normatex, or use the massage gun or the cold tub. So it depends, but it would be a lot of recovery because your body's getting banged up, and then really the day after that I'm free. So it's really what up to me. Maybe I'll go back to shoot, or have some fun. Just really depends. So yeah, but I finished pretty early.
How are you feeling about it all? Like, obviously, this is something that you have dreamt
Yeah,
about since you were however small, and now it's kind of starting
right.
to get closer and closer to becoming a reality. Like, how are you actually feeling about the whole thing?
Right. I think, I can't even explain how I'm feeling. It's a lot of emotions. Like you said, I've been dreaming about this since a little kid. But I think the biggest emotion is just being excited. And I feel like I'm ready. Of course, there's nerves. I feel like, people say, being nervous is a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing. It means, you know, it's something you care about. It means a lot to you. So I would say there's a few nerves, but I think they're positive nerves. And I'm just ready. I'm ready to take the next step and just learn and keep on going. So I'm really excited.
When you assess where your game is at and kind of the feedback that you've been getting, in workouts, interviews, and stuff, kind of like, what are you
Right.
feeling on the whole about your game in terms of strengths, weaknesses, things you maybe need to work on, or things you feeling are your strengths at the moment?
I think the main thing is, just improving my shot, becoming more consistent offensively with the shot. But I think overall, I think I'll be able to impact the team quite early on. I think a lot of teams admire the way I play, my defensive versatility, the things I do off, like not even on the stat sheet or the box score, just the little things you can't really see unless you really watch the game that I do. I think a lot of teams admire, and just my my resilience and the way I play. I think teams really admire and are really excited about. So
One
yeah.
thing I had to ask before I sort of get over to the fan questions that we had submitted. Um, After the game against UNC, out of interest, I went onto Twitter and just typed in your name.
Yeah.
And boy, the amount of just
hmm
abuse that was being pointed
Yeah.
your way, all of the stuff, and it
Crazy.
was thousands and thousands. And I went onto your Instagram, and your last post, which was a couple of days before, that had just been
Yeah.
flooded with comments from people.
Right.
Like, in this day
Yeah.
and age, as a young man, like, how are you managing to deal with all of that? What is effectively like online abuse? Like, how are you managing
Right.
it? Do you find that easy to deal with, or is it challenging at times?
Right. Right. I was just laughing, but it's not even, crazy funny. It's actually pretty sad. But I think for me, I remember I had like an earlier post before that about, someone like DMing me something crazy. But I think it's just, understanding yourself, being yourself, and, being comfortable with the people around you and being vulnerable with that. I think, just keeps me going. And not really, I feel like for me, it's more like fuel when people, talk bad about me, or, you know, do this online abuse. I think it just fuels me to show them that I can do it, and to get better every day, and just not even prove them, but prove myself that, I can do this stuff. So I think it doesn't really affect me really. I think it's just like, do it then, give me this abuse. It's just gonna fuel me even more. So yeah.
It's good to hear. I don't know whether I could have handled it at sort of 19 years old.
Right.
So we put a thing on Instagram and asked people for questions. We had loads of questions. People had all sorts of things they wanted to ask you. So I thought I'd bring up some of the best of them and kind of fire them your way.
For sure.
First one is the biggest thing that you've learnt from your journey up until now through until the draft.
Right. I think I've learned that, you have to be yourself in this process. You can't fill no other description. You can't put your shoes into someone else's shoes. I think it's just being yourself, staying in the present and focusing on yourself and, just becoming a better basketball player, but also person. I think a lot of people, and even me at times, I'm not perfect. I think, you try and look at someone else's shoes and you want to be like them, or you think you need to, shoot the ball like them or do whatever. And I think it's not that, you got to focus on yourself and become the best version of yourself.
Which coach has had the most impact on your game?
Ooh, I've had a lot of coaches, but me personally, I think Matt Guyman and Jack O'Keefe have been there since day one. So I think they've, from Itchen College, I think they've been there, the most. And I think also Coach Jacobs from Baylor, but Jack O'Keefe and Matt Guyman for sure.
When you were at Itchen, did you think you would be here now?
I think I've always thought I could be in this position. I didn't know how quickly it was gonna come, but I think I always knew this, and I asked Matt Jack or anyone at H, and I always told them that I would be here. So yeah.
Then we had two questions that were kind of similar, but one was who was the best player you played against in England, and who was the best player you played against in the EABL?
Oh, they're pretty similar, but best player I've played in England. I would even say, that's a good question. There's a lot of players. I'd say either Cam Hildreth or I think from Barking, I think Ade or JB were tough matchups too.
Adi Adebayo and Jonathan Brown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. What colour are you going to dye your hair next?
I can't spoil it. I can't say because that's the draft night color. So yeah, we
So
can't
we're
talk too
expecting
much
a
about
surprise
that.
on draft night, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we look forward to it. Um,
Yeah.
would you consider yourself British, American, or Polish?
Good question. Good question. I'm getting this so much recently, but I so recently I've been saying I'm a citizen of the world, but I think I was born in America, but I left when I was really young to England. I lived in England most of my life. Mum's Polish. I played for the Polish national team. So it's hard to say, but I think, home is in England and Poland. So yeah.
Who do you want to dunk on the most?
Who do I want to dunk on the most? That's a good question. Um, I'm not sure. Everyone. Everyone.
Um, how many pairs of basketball shoes do you own, and what is your favourite brand?
Oh, you know what? I can't even count. I don't know how many I have. Quite a few. But I would say for now, it's Kobe's, but I'm not sure. We'll see who I sign with. So, yeah.
Who would you compare your game most to out of the current NBA players?
Yeah, I think uh, that's a hard question because I think I compare to quite a lot of different players. I think one good one is Draymond Green. I think just the way he plays defensively, offensively. I think there's a lot of similar things. I think I can also do other things, but I think Draymond Green is a good comparison.
Do you remember the MK Trojans?
Of course I do. I mean, I've played this for so long. Uh, we had a few good runs in the playoffs, but I always remember MK Trojans, and there's a new big thing coming up in Milton Keynes, MK basketball. My brother's actually playing there right now, and I think that's going to be the next one up. So yeah.
Was going to the Solent Kestrels the right move for you?
I think yeah, it was the best move I did. I think before that I was planning on maybe going somewhere in Europe or America even to high school. But I think I was, maybe going somewhere else in England without my family was better for me. And, choosing Solent Kestrels and Itchen was great for me. I think it helped me a lot and it just made me more complete.
What are you most excited about?
About the draft or,
Yeah,
the
about the
next step.
draft, the NBA. I guess the
Yeah.
next few weeks, few months.
Yeah. I think just being in a new environment, a professional environment, and being around, players who have done this for a long time, coaches. I think I'm excited to just become a sponge and just learn a lot of different things, work hard and get better.
Of course, we can talk about the love of the game and how much you love basketball and stuff. But the other thing that's going to be happening is you're going to be getting a pretty significant paycheck from playing basketball.
Yeah, right.
How are you feeling about that and sort of the financial side of things?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Like if you really look at the figures and stuff, and even now, like the trading card company, like deals I'm doing, it's crazy. And I'm very fortunate to be getting that amount of money. But I think it's exciting, and I have to be smart with that type of money. So having the right people around me, the right influence is going to be important for me. And of course, there'll be things I want to spend it on, but of course, saving it and making good use of the money is important too. So yeah.
So someone asked, would you ever consider owning a sort of AAU team of all British players and bringing them over to the States to play?
uh, Probably, maybe that's a good idea. I think I was actually gonna say I really think there's so much potential in England, and I think with me having this opportunity to be in the best league in the world, I think it can bring a lot of communities together and just try and help as much as I can with people in England, Poland. So I think it's exciting, and I think we can do big things with it. So yeah.
I guess to kind of wrap up, because I'm conscious of time here. But what advice would you give to the sort of the next young player in the UK that's looking at where you are and they want to be where you are, and they're sort of working on their game every day? Kind of what advice would you give to them?
Right. I think, like I said earlier, I think just being yourself and just trying to create the way for yourself, not trying to, you know, create the same journey as someone else. It's never going to be the same. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be ups and downs. So I think just being present and positive and having that growth mindset is going to help you a lot. And then of course, being in the gym. I know it's sometimes hard to get gym time in England, but you don't always need a gym. I think it's just finding all these different resources and just becoming a better player. I think it's gonna really be important for you, and then just keeping your network wide. I think just trying to learn a lot of people's, creating a lot of relationships with different people, players, coaches, is gonna help you a lot as well. So yeah, and it's always possible. It's not impossible. So yeah.
Oh, 100%. I think that's a perfect place to leave it. We're bang on 15 minutes. Jeremy, thank you so much, and I want to wish you all the
Yes,
best for the
sir.
next few weeks. We will be following,
Thank
rooting
you.
for you, and look forward to watching your success in the big league.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.